How we doing, Wisconsin fans? Welcome back to another episode of Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage. Today we are talking Brewers, Packers. We are covering the Wisconsin sports that need to be talked about today. Brewers lost one last night to the Marlins. We're going to cover that and what we saw of that kind of depressing outlook from this offense from the Brewers. And then we're going to be talking a little bit of Packers, just covering a little bit of what we saw in week one, a little bit there, and then leading up into game two, and then covering a little bit going around the league in the NFC North there and see what's been going on with some of the other rivals to the Packers there. But with that, we're going to jump right into the Brewers. Game three of this 4-game set against the Marlins. 2-0 finish. And, I'd be okay if the Brewers came into this one and the Marlins just downright played a better game than the Brewers. All around, just looked better, played better, everything in between. In this one, the Marlins weren't impressive. The Brewers were just that bad on the offensive side. And we're going to look at that. We're going to cover that a little bit more here. But I am just not impressed right now, especially last night with the way the offense was looking. Not having Mark Canha in there. Yelich, they said he was available off the bench. Didn't see him in a pinch hit role. Didn't see a lot of guys in key pinch hit roles that I would have thought we would have maybe went with. But we're going to get to that. But right away, covering the box from last night, 2-0 finish, like I said. In the fifth inning, the Marlins picked up a run, and in the seventh inning, that put the Brewers away there. 8 hits for the Marlins, 7 for the Brewers in this one. 2 errors by the Marlins in this one. And I saw on MLB Network, I saw him talking a while back, and they had 4 games that were that day, and they were looking at the errors in them. They're like, and he said, I can't remember who the heck was talking, and he said, look at these games. Errors define games. You have 2 errors by this team, none by their team. Usually the team who messes up ends up losing that ball game. It just happens. It just happens that way. You give the other team free bases, and they take advantage of it. This Brewers team did not take advantage of it. They did not take advantage of the fact that in 6 of the 9 innings last night, they had the leadoff guy on. Leadoff man gets on 6 of the 9 innings, and you cannot do anything with it. And that is, we're going to get to that, but that's a lack of small ball, and we're going to get to that one after we cover the box here for the Brewers and Marlins game last night. Looking at pitching-wise, McGill started it for the Brewers. Everybody said, what the heck? Why is McGill starting this one? Matt Arnold, as much as I don't like to listen sometimes when he talks, he gave a pretty good explanation for it. It's to see a different look, get through the top of that order there in that first inning, and then hand it off to one of them starters. And with a guy like Colin Ray, who struggles against the top of orders, putting a guy like McGill in there, give him that flamethrower right off the bat. And he pitched solid for the Brewers. 1 inning, 1 hit, 1 strikeout. Colin Ray came in then 4 2/3, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 3 strikeouts, and a walk. Chafin came in, gave up another run. Chafin has struggled for this Brewers team out of the bullpen. 2/3 of an inning pitch there for him. 1 strikeout in there and 1 hit. Bryce Wilson then came in for 2 2/3 innings, 2 hits, 2 strikeouts, 1 walk given up by Bryce Wilson. So good showing by Bryce Wilson again out of the bullpen. Colin Ray looked good for this Brewers team, and Trevor McGill looked solid there to start it for the Brewers. Looking at the starting lineup for the Brewers, Monasterio in that leadoff spot. I thought Monasterio is a great option in that leadoff spot right now. A contact hitter, looks to drive the ball the other way. Putting him in that leadoff spot I thought was a good move for the Brewers. If not Sal Frelick, having Monasterio up there. Monasterio 1 for 4 effort from tonight, 2 strikeouts. Strikeouts were the big factor in this one for this Brewers team. Contreras 1 for 3 on the night there, 1 strikeout, 1 walk. Santana 2 hits for him, 2 for 4 and a strikeout. Terang came in then as a pinch runner and then went in for second base. Willie Adames 1 for 4 on the night with a strikeout. Donaldson 2 strikeouts and 0 for 3 effort. Tellez then came in to play first base. Tyrone Taylor 1 for 4 on the night there with a strikeout. Caratini 2 strikeouts and an 0 for 4 effort. Frelick 1 for 3 on the night, and then Joey Wiemer 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. That 0 for 4 from Joey Wiemer came up in some big spots for this Brewers team, and we're gonna cover that a little bit and what could have happened different in those situations. But looking over at the Marlins there, Arias 2 for 4 for him tonight or last night. Bell 1 for 4. Sanchez went 1 for 3. De La Cruz 1 for 4. Hampson 2 for 4. And Xavier Edwards went 1 for 4. Garrett had the Brewers' number: 6 innings, 4 hits, 7 strikeouts, 2 walks. Robertson then came in, 1 inning pitched, 1 hit, and 3 strikeouts. Nardi, 2 hits, 1 inning pitched, and 1 strikeout. And then Scott came in to finish it out. Tanner Scott, 1 inning pitched and 1 strikeout. So the Marlins had the pitching combo that the Brewers could not figure out last night. And looking at this Brewers team, I know we talk about it a lot, but when is it going to be enough of seeing Joey Wiemer out there on the baseball field for this Brewers team? Joey Wiemer is not helping the Brewers right now. Joey Wiemer, if we look at his stats here, Joey Wiemer has struggled for this Brewers team mightily, and everybody can see it. It has to do with that bat. His bat path and his stance just they aren't working. This is a guy who needs work. You look at him in his last 7 games for this Brewers team: 2 for 16, 125 average. Last 15 games, 2 for 25, a .080 average. His last 30 games, 200 average. You look at his home runs: 1 home run in the last 30 games, and he's had none over the last 15. Joey Wiemer is a guy who isn't getting a lot of at-bats right now. Why? Because Joey Wiemer cannot hit right now for this Brewers team. Why is he getting the opportunities at the big league level right now? You look at who we've passed up, who we've sent down to the minors now. Owen Miller. Miller can play outfield. He can. Miller can play infield. He can DH. Miller can do a lot of things. Why is Joey Wiemer getting this playing time right now for the Brewers team that is struggling offensively? And they have games. Everybody says, oh, they're not struggling offensively. Look at that 12-0 win. Look at that win yesterday. Yeah, their offense picks it up for a couple games. But you cannot have games like this. If this was a 2-1 finish, okay. If the Marlins pitched that great of a game, okay. But you watch Joey Wiemer's at-bats there. He came up, I think it was in the 7th inning, and he had first and second, or it was the 6th or 7th, came up first and second with 1 out. Might have been 1 out, 2 outs. Came up in a big spot. Couldn't produce for this Brewers team. We didn't go to a pinch hitter. We let it ride with Joey Wiemer. Couldn't get it done. Look at the 9th inning. Runner on first base. Couldn't get it done. That's where I'm looking with this Brewers lineup right now, is why he comes up in big spots. He has been consistently coming up big spots and does not produce in those big spots. So why are we sticking with a guy like Joey Wiemer in those big spots? I don't understand. I really don't. Looking back at that, I can't remember if it was the 6th or 7th. I'm not sure. But you look at that and you say, okay, you listen to Jeff Levering and Bill Schroeder talking on Bally. And they said, oh, well, you go with Rowdy right here, you're going to get the bullpen's they're going to bring out a lefty to face Rowdy. So what? I would rather have Rowdy Tellez up there versus a lefty than have Joey Wiemer versus a lefty or righty. That's for darn sure right now. Joey Wiemer is struggling. I would rather have Rowdy Tellez up there. I'd rather have Brian Anderson up there. Why was Brian Anderson not getting a call to get out there and pick up a bat and see what he can do? Just as productive as Joey Wiemer. Joey Wiemer, all he's got is his glove out in the outfield. That is all that he brings to the Brewers right now. Nothing more. We cannot have that. You need to have bats. We don't have bats. We have our starting bats. Other than that, I mean, you look at guys, we talk about it, and Willie Adames struggled this year. Tyrone Taylor struggled. Joey Wiemer, awful. And I don't like to use the word awful about a player. I really don't. I like Joey Wiemer as a player, not with his bat, though. I think he needs a lot of work with that bat. I think time in the minors would fix that bat. We look down in the minor leagues right now. Abraham Toro currently is hitting .297 down at AAA. 8 home runs, 55 RBIs, 34 doubles, and 99 hits. Why is Abraham Toro sitting down in AAA right now? Why is he not on the big league ball club? 444 average, or 414, above 400 average in the big leagues. 8 for 18, 2 home runs, 9 RBIs. Why is that guy sitting in AAA right now? Why is he not getting time at the big league level, at least off of the bench? If you're going to leave Brian Anderson sit on the bench, why is Abraham Toro not on that bench? Why is a guy like Owen Miller, who down at AAA is hitting .276, and in the big leagues is hitting .261, why is he not at the big league level? These moves that the Brewers are making don't make sense. Josh Donaldson, couple of good games for the Brewers since being called up, and then you look at last night and another offer, and did not look anywhere near productive at the plate. So are we just going to let that? Oh, well, he has 7 bad games in a row, but that eighth game, he hit 1 home run for us, and that's going to keep his job. That's what we have done with Joey Wiemer all season long. He will have stretches where he will go 6 games without a hit. In that 7th game, he's going to go 2 for 4 with a home run, and all of a sudden, Brewer fans say, "Oh, well, he's fine. He's fine in there. He had that big home run, and his defense is just great. When the Braves come to town for a playoff series, or the Dodgers come to town, hell, in game 161, when we're playing the Cubs, are we just going to say, oh, wow, we'd rather start Joey Wiemer in this lineup because his defense is so good. We don't need his bat. We just need his defense. Even though the Brewers offense is struggling and they can't muster up any kind of hits in clutch situations, they can't put the ball in play. We want Joey Wiemer's defense out there. No, nobody is going to say that. Why are we sitting with Joey Wiemer in this lineup? Everybody has complained about Willy Adames. You could go on social media right now and say, who would you rather send down, or who would you rather get rid of, Willy Adames or Joey Wiemer? Who would you rather have off this Brewers lineup right now in AAA? And every single person would say Willy Adames. Why? Why would you rather have Joey Wiemer in this lineup? Willy Adames can at least put the ball in play. Hell, yeah. Does he pop up a lot? Yeah. Does he ground out a lot? Yeah, he does. But guess what? He puts the ball in play. Joey Wiemer is a strikeout victim. That's all that he is. You look at him, that at-bat I was talking about, dead red slider. You throw that same pitch to William Contreras or Ronald Acuna, or, just shoot across the board there with all-stars in the MLB right now. That ball is peppered into the outfield. It is. It's crushed. Joey Wiemer misses it. Misses it. Why? Why does he miss it? The hands. Watch his hands up there. He's churning butter when he's at the plate. What hitting coach has told him along the way, this is the way you want to do it because you're going to be consistent? There's no consistency in his bat right now. Not even just because he's struggling mentally. It's not mentally. He doesn't have to get mentally right. Mechanically, he needs to get right. I don't know if that's a date down to AAA. It has to happen. It has to happen sooner rather than later. Right now in this Major League roster, you carry him into the postseason. What is he going to do for you in the postseason? Besides, 9th inning, I can throw him out in the outfield. And sometimes he scares me in the outfield. So that's where I'm at with that Joey Wiemer situation right now. And why the Brewers just don't pinch hit for him in big situations. Another thing, lack of small ball. You look at that Joey Wiemer at bat, or even the Willy Adames at bat. They come up first and second, and I don't remember the Joey Wiemer. I remember the Willy Adames situation. He came up runner on first and second, nobody out. Single and a single by Contreras and Santana. So instead of, let's bunt them over. Let's get those guys over with 1 out, second and third, 1 out, put some pressure on, let's drive in that run. What do? Willy Adames is not a consistent hitter for this Brewers team this year. And what do? We let him swing away. What does he do? Ground ball up the middle, right directly on second base. Easiest double play that they could have drawn up. And then we look back to, let's see. It was back in the 7th, bottom of the 7th inning. Tyrone Taylor singled, Caratini struck out, Frelick walked, and then Joey Wiemer came up 1 out, first and second, strikeout. And then Monasterio came out and ended the inning. And I don't hold Monasterio any less accountable for his strikeout though in the inning there, but Monasterio coming up there with whatever Joey Wiemer did before there, if it was productive, putting the ball in play, advancing the runners, something to put pressure on that pitcher. Now he strikes out Wiemer. Now he has a breath of fresh air going into that Monasterio at bat, thinking now I have 2 outs in this inning. We have had guys come up in clutch situations who don't produce for this Brewers team. Why did we not see a guy like Rowdy Tellez pinch hit? Even a guy like Brian Anderson. If Christian Yelich was ready, why is he not in there? This was an opportunity for the Brewers last night to move 5 games up of the Cubs in the division. 5 games. That is huge heading down the stretch here. Cubs lost earlier today, or earlier yesterday, before the Brewers even started. So, huge opportunity missed by the Brewers to move 5 games up in that division race. And every game counts now. You have the Cardinals left. You have the Cubs left. I mean, you have some big series coming up, and you failed to take advantage of it when you had that opportunity. That is what kills me the most with the Brewers right now. Is it's not that you had a loss. You were going to have some losses in the stretch. It's the way that it happened. The opportunities that were missed by this Brewers team. The Marlins aren't playing their best ball coming into Milwaukee this week. So the Brewers are missing opportunities right now. Hopefully they can get the rubber match or the series win, should I say, today at 110 against the Marlins here. Looks like Hauser is going to go for the Brewers. Marlins are not sure yet who's going to pitch. Hauser 5-4 on the season, a 4.58 ERA. Marlins pretty good success against him. Arias is hitting 500 with 6 at bats, 1 RBI. Bell's hitting 286, 7 at bats. Birdie's hitting 500 against him, and Chisholm's actually hitting 1,000 against him so far in his career. So some decent stats against Hauser there. Brewers coming into this one at 81-64. The Marlins coming in at 75-71. Brewers need this one. They need to win this series. They need to, hopefully the Cubs lose, pick up that game that you lost last night there in this division race. But with that, jump into some better news, like we could call it that, and the Packers. Covering the Packers here, just looking at week 1 and the safeties for the Packers. Darnell Savage struggled last season. Everybody knew about the struggle of Darnell Savage. But looking at week 1 against the Bears, 10 total tackles. I actually led the team with 10 total tackles, had 1 for a loss, and made a bunch of tackles at the line of scrimmage. So it's good to see a guy like Darnell Savage kind of solidifying himself into that role there as that primary safety. A guy who struggled, though, at the safety position there, Rudy Ford, won the starting job basically by default over Jonathan Owens, Travarius, Morey, and Anthony Johnson Jr. Missed 2 tackles at safety, and he just seemed like he wasn't there, wasn't ready to play, wasn't on the pass routes like a guy like Darnell Savage was, and I think he was the weak link in that secondary for the Packers. If Rudy Ford can't pick it up come week 2 and he struggles again, I would expect them to replace him with one of those guys off the bench there, Jonathan Owens, Travarius, Morey, or Anthony Johnson Jr., or look towards the practice squad or the waiver wire to see who they can pick up out of free agency or anything like that to come into this defense and help them there in the secondary. Otherwise, that will be a weak point for this Packers team moving forward. Other than that, looking around and talking about Christian Watson, he was, again, not a participant in practice. And I think that is huge news for the Packers, just looking at his durability. I mean, we look at Christian Watson, and you look back to last year, and it just seemed like every time Christian Watson got hit, he had to sit out for a play, at least for a play, or he was out for a couple plays, or he was hurt, and he had to sit out for a half or the rest of that game. Christian Watson's fragile, and when he's healthy, Christian Watson's dynamic. He makes his Packers offense that much better. He can extend the field. He can. He's a deep threat. He's that guy for the Packers. But can you count on him to be out there? And that's where I think the Packers will struggle is with him. What do you do? And I think it's going to be a lot of offseason training on Christian Watson himself to get himself more durable, a little bit bigger and solid, so that way he can take that hit, get back up, get back out there, and be able to go in that second play. We watch guys who take a big lick and who get back up and they're back out there. And that's not Christian Watson right now. He has the skill, but he just doesn't have the strength to be out there every single play. And I just am looking at the Packers saying, can you develop this guy into being the guy in Green Bay for you for years to come? Or are we going to watch another injury-prone wide receiver who can't get it done because he's constantly on the disabled list for this team. But another thing I wanted to look at, just looking at the practice on Wednesday, David Bakhtiari was on veterans rest, did not participate in this one in practice. Romeo Dobbs, limited participation. Rashawn Gary, limited. And Elton Jenkins was limited. Anthony Johnson, junior safety, was full participant, so possibly competing with Rudy Ford for that other safety spot. Aaron Jones did not participate. Aaron Jones is feeling fine, but they're cautious with him right now. And if Aaron Jones feels any slight discomfort, like I don't know if it's 100%, he will not go on Sunday. That's just proven right now for Aaron Jones. Quay Walker did not participate. He's in the concussion protocol. And Christian Watson, like I said, hamstring, did not participate in practice again for this Packers team. But I wanted to look at another thing, and that is looking at A.J. Dillon. Week 1, struggled for this Packers team, and a lot of people are worried, and they don't know if A.J. Dillon is the guy. They don't know if he's that running back too for this Packers team. I think we need to relax. Just give it a week. If Aaron Jones is out week 2, we're going to see a lot more of A.J. Dillon. Emmanuel Wilson's got the ability to take over for Aaron Jones, be dynamic. He's a lot better on the offensive side. So maybe see a little bit of Emmanuel Wilson too out there for week 2. Didn't see him in week 1, so hopefully see him in week 2. But A.J. Dillon, I expect better things out of him week 2. He looked slow in week 1. Looked like I saw a lot of comments and they were right. It looked like his one step looked like 17. That's how long it was taking. A.J. Dillon looked like he was slow come week 1. Hopefully that improves going to week 2, and we will see a better A.J. Dillon coming out there and relax the Packer fans a little bit, because there was the rumors of Jonathan Taylor, and we didn't go get Jonathan Taylor because we had our backs. So hopefully A.J. Dillon looks a little bit better come week 2, and we will see maybe a little bit of Emmanuel Wilson. Maybe Emmanuel Wilson develops into that running back too that the Packers are looking for. We will have to wait and see. Maybe that is the key to this Packers team down the stretch. But just checking around here, the Falcons running game was very effective week 1, so look for this defense to have to spread it out. Lucas Van Ness had a big game against Chicago, controlled Justin Fields a little bit there on a couple plays. I expect big things out of Lucas Van Ness. They're going to have to control the outside, contain, keep that running game down. Expect more out of B.J. Robinson in week 2. He didn't have a lot of chances week 1, but expect a lot more out of week 2 for him. And that's where this Packers defense is going to have to step up, control him, make Desmond Ridder have to make decisions in that backfield and have to make some throws, and then see if this Packers team can take advantage of those come week 2. Make them make plays, make them make mistakes. That's all you can do if you are the Packers. Another thing I've been reading and looking up on, and that is after that Aaron Rodgers injury, a lot of people are calling for the change of fields from artificial turf over to real grass, the real thing. And I saw a lot of comments, and I saw one that was talking about guys getting hurt. And you look at some injuries over the years, and this isn't to just say that artificial turf is the greatest thing, but you look at a lot of injuries over the years, and I saw a person comment, and they said, look at like Alex Smith. Horrible injury that happened at Washington, grass. And then you look at different guys over the years there. Nelson tore his ACL in Pittsburgh, which is grass. JK got hurt on grass. You look at guys who have got hurt on grass, and you look at the ability for these teams to pay for having grass put in their stadiums, a lot of indoor stadiums. You look at Arizona. Arizona's got to have the ability to take that grass outside, grow it, and then bring it back inside. And I was actually listening to Bill Michaels today, and he said, there's a lot of guys who have been growing some grass down in their basement for years. Maybe they should have them come out and grow the grass for you, pop some lights up, and do all that kind of stuff. I thought it was the funniest thing I heard. But looking at that, it's kind of, if you read the odds of it, the injuries are actually recording are non-contact low extremity injuries that happen on artificial turf, ankles, foot, and knee. And they happen more on turf than grass. Simple reasoning, grass gives versus turf, which you would have to physically is like carpet. It doesn't really tear. So when you have grass, that knee, that ankle's allowed to have that movement, kind of break up that grass and let you move. Versus turf, you don't have that ability, and that's what causes a lot of the injuries there for these NFL players. And that's where I'm just kind of I agree with the players and everything else. Grass, yes, injuries happen on grass. They're going to happen. But non-contact injuries that are happening on turf shouldn't be happening. Aaron Rodgers' injury, he didn't really get hit. I mean, there wasn't that hard of a hit on the play. He just something popped, and the main cause was the artificial turf not giving to him and allowing that ability for him to move. Now, there are some guys who like playing on turf, but there's also a majority who would rather play on grass. And I am with, if teams can afford it and they can afford to put it in, I would love to see the NFL move over to more grass. You look at a lot of these teams who have turf, they switch it over to grass when the World Cup comes, when all this stuff comes to their stadiums. They'll switch it over to grass. Why don't you just leave it as grass then and just allow it to be grass for every sporting event? That's just something that has really confused me with the NFL. But with that, I just kind of want to look around the NFC North right now and just see kind of what we saw this last Sunday. The Vikings lost to the Buccaneers there. It was a struggle for the Vikings right away. Kirk Cousins, 33 for 44, 344 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Jefferson had 9 receptions for 150 yards. I've heard it a lot from Viking fans. A good buddy of mine, Viking fan, I heard it from him. He just wishes that Kirk Cousins wouldn't treat Justin Jefferson like he was the only guy in the field. And I feel that. You look at a guy like Aaron Rodgers, Davante Adams. He's always had that guy, the one guy he's always looking for. You look at that playoff game the Packers had, only looking for Davante Adams. Had Allen Lazard wide open, shot it to double coverage for Davante Adams. So I feel what he's saying there. And with this Vikings team, they have playmakers on this team. It's just a matter of if they can make it work. The defense struggled a little bit against the Buccaneers there. Baker Mayfield, 21 for 34, 173 yards, 2 touchdowns for this team. But Vikings coming up this next week, see who they got. They have the Eagles, so it does not get any easier for the Vikings. Eagles, Chargers, then the Panthers, so they might get a little easier there, but then they play the Chiefs. Then they get Bears, then the 49ers. So the Vikings have some tough sledding ahead of them here coming up the next couple weeks here. Resurging Panthers team too. And the Bears, you never know with the Bears. Maybe they right the ship by then. Maybe the Packers didn't completely beat them and they will rebound. I don't know. The Vikings have some tough sledding here in the schedule. But looking towards the Detroit Lions' impressive Week 1 win against the Chiefs, I heard a lot of people say, do you put an asterisk by it for that Week 1 win? No Kelsey for the Chiefs. Yeah, no Kelsey for the Chiefs is a big loss, a massive loss for the Chiefs their Week 1. 21-20 loss that the Chiefs had there with Kelsey on the field. A lot of those balls that were thrown around don't get thrown to those same guys because you do have a guy like Travis Kelsey on the field. He just adds another dynamic player out there, and that's where it might be a different outcome there Week 1, but still an impressive Week 1 win. The defense looked good for the Lions. Hasn't looked that good in a long time. They kind of controlled Patrick Mahomes in that one. Coming up Week 2, they have the Seattle Seahawks, and then they will have the Falcons, then the Packers Week 4. So a little easier of a schedule for the Lions there. Seahawks, Falcons, Panthers, Buccaneers, and the Packers sandwiched right between them. So a little bit easier of a schedule, but that Week 4 matchup against the Packers could be a huge one, especially in this NFC North come the end of the season there. A Week 4 matchup could determine what the season might look like for these teams. But with that, jumping over into the Chicago Bears quick, we all know took that big beating. Jordan Love took over ownership of the Bears. 38-20 loss there Week 1 to the Packers. This next week, Buccaneers hopefully right the ship, but then you had the Chiefs. So Bears fans, be ready. You have the Buccaneers. You don't win that one, you lose to the Buccaneers. You are starting out 0-3 because there ain't no way Patrick Mahomes is losing at Arrowhead to the Chicago Bears. That's all I know. But with that, that is about all I have for Wisconsin Sports Talk. We talked Brewers, we talked Packers. We're going to get into a little bit more of everything tomorrow there leading up into the weekend for your schedules. Brewers, Packers, Badgers. Hopefully the Badgers pick up a win there this weekend. Heading down to the game for Georgia Southern, hopefully to see a win there. I would hate to go to a major upset at Camp Randall. But with that, that is about all I got. Thank you guys for listening, and we will see you guys tomorrow. This has been Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trades. Thanks for listening. Deuces, Brew Crew.